Well, look, I mean, there really is not a legitimate argument against it. I mean, what it is, well, you know, well, we're bringing up the federal debt, or, well, I mean, what? You think you're going to, by turning this down, you're going to solve the federal debt? This federal debt needs to be solved. I mean, I've worked on that, you know, my whole congressional career. We can get it solved, but that doesn't mean that we can't still have a safety net. But go back to the community connectors for a second. Let me just tell you what the vision is. We have a minister here in town who's got 10,000 people that go to his church, and he's not even passing out canned hams. And he's got 8,000 people who go to his church every Sunday. He has pledged to work with the business community to put 1,000 volunteers into the Columbus Public Schools. We got a guy now up in Cleveland that runs a huge church in the black community who's going to be working up there to kind of do the same thing and figure out how to get in the schools. Transferring our values, our, you know, of discipline and hard work and all the things that we know the country was built upon can't be done just by government. And I think as government has grown bigger, for whatever reason, people have, I think, in too many cases have felt either the problem's too big for me to solve it, or, you know, the government will take care of it. And so I don't want to give you the impression that by doing a Medicaid or whatever these things are, that somehow substitutes for citizen involvement in terms of our communities, because there are limits to what government can do. But I look at the Medicaid as a, you know, this is emergency room deal. You know, if I don't get some of this money to people and get them rehab, they're going to die from a heroin overdose. They may end up in prison as somebody who's mentally ill that's not on their medication. I mean, we can't do that in Ohio. That's not who we are. In my opinion, that's not who we are. Up to the people to judge.
Go back to, you know, you said how much is
1.6 billion, the largest in a decade.
Okay. So where's the disconnect between, you know, you're saying it's 1.6 billion, and, you know, the local school officials who constantly say, you know, our state funding, and they roll out their spreadsheets to show how the funding from the state will be used.
Yeah. Well, the funding, well, I mean, well, I would say, look, I mean, first of all,
is that is your numbers including money that they're spending on school facilities?
No. But let me also tell you, a number of schools became dependent on federal stimulus money. Okay, and so the stimulus money is not there, and I was never going to replace it. And when I ran the last time, I said, do not be counting on money like that for your operations. You know, that's one-time money. I mean, I think we should take it, but look, don't be counting on this going forward. So that's possible what part of it is. But here's what we're trying to do with school funding. If you have a community that is not property tax rich, and you have growing students, we should give you more money. And if you have a school district that is property tax wealthy and maybe even shrinking students, we shouldn't do as much for you. Now, you know how the legislature works. They get spreadsheets too, and they monkey with the formula to make sure that, you know, nobody loses. And so in some respects, we have a misallocation. Now, I can't tell you specifically about your school district. I can't tell you how much they lost in stimulus money, but that's kind of the situation. Now, we had $250 million set aside for the Innovation Fund. Did any of them apply for it? Did they get an Innovation Fund grant? They did? Good. Good. It shows that they're trying to move forward and figure out better ways to do things with higher quality and lower prices. But, you know, let me ask you a question. Have you ever seen government that ever said they had enough? So I can't really tell you what the situation is, but...
So you're saying some of them might be kind of a misallocation through the legislative process?
Part of it might be. Part of it might be that they were...
Local school officials, when, you know, the new numbers came down, you know, some of them that are very knowledgeable in school finance couldn't explain the rhyme or reason why this district did better.
Well, and what, I'll give you an example. Olentangy, which is located here in Franklin County, or in Delaware County, they have an exploding number of students, and their property value, their wealth is not as much as what people think. And they got relatively low amounts of state aid. So on a percentage basis, when they got more money, the percentage looked big. Created an outrage. So everybody goes, we can't do that. So money was taken from them. So this is just all part of the legislative process. Now, people said, is it constitutional? Well, clearly our school funding is constitutional because nobody challenged it. It's fine. But we have to make sure that we are directing money in a way that people that... I can't think of a better way to do it other than to say, if you are poor and have more students, we need to help you more than if you're wealthier and have fewer students. I can't think of a better way to do it. But the legislature is going to monkey because they're going to look at a printout. And they're going to say, well, we need to have more. There is a school district up in the Cleveland area that's lost half of its population, but the money is still the same. Now, if your local legislator doesn't get the money for your school district, then you guys pound on him or her, and then you say they're not doing their job. So come on. Maybe you're part of the problem too, But our goal is to do precisely that. And we're always going to look at this. The third grade reading guarantees turned out to be a terrific success. But look, if we're not doing our education system, first of all, it's not K through 12, it's pre-K too. It has to be a priority for us because our children are our highest priority, period, exclamation point. So that's kind of what we're doing. And in terms of your school districts, we'd be glad to take a look at it and figure out, what's happened or why the numbers came out the way they did. And but I'm open to any kind of change. But I'm not going to be open to just not being able to direct more resources to people that are in a tougher situation.
Kind of along the same line.
But 1.6 billion, all you got to do is go check the record and you'll see how much more we put into it. It's the largest increase in a decade.
For local government.
Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah,